Welcome to TrulyFit.
Welcome to the TrulyFit Podcast, where we interview experts in fitness and health to expand our wisdom and wealth. I'm your host, Steve Washuta, co-founder of TrulyFit and author of Fitness Business 101. It is just me today. It is a solo episode. There's no interview. For those of you who are new to the podcast, there's two different podcasts that I do format-wise. There's an interview episode where I have on an expert guest in the health or medical realm or nutrition realm or fitness realm to come on to talk about something that is inside of their expertise. And there are episodes that I do, which I call solos, which are one of two things. They're an episode like today, which are AMAs, Ask Me Anything. I go through questions that people have sent in, and I answer those questions as best as I can. Or they are something that I am just talking about off the cuff. It is trending in the health and fitness and nutrition community, wellness community, and I feel like I need to give my 2 cents on it. Today, again, it's going to be an AMA episode. I took 3 questions that people wrote in, and I'm going to answer them. And I'm going to keep that sort of 3 and 3 format, meaning I'm going to try to answer all 3 questions by giving 3 different parts to those questions. So let's just jump into it here. This isn't exactly one question. I get a lot of different iterations of this question. People say, why am I not seeing results, Steve? And some people go into detail. They give me their whole program. This is what I've been doing for the past 6 months. This is what I've been eating, yada, yada, yada. Why have I not seen the results that one should expect given the amount of energy and effort I put in, given the program? Well, it's so hard to pinpoint. Number one, most people lie to themselves. And unless you're actually recording every single thing that you eat and do, there's a chance that you're leaving something out. That's what we do as humans. So let's put that caveat in there. Also, I'm not with even my clients. I don't see what they do 24 hours a day, right? I'm only with them for a few hours, and I only know what they tell me otherwise. So it's really hard to talk about this in a specific way. So I'm going to give generalities. And I'm going to also try to maybe give answers that people aren't thinking about, because typically you already know the reasons, or you already think you know the reasons why this isn't working. So let me give you some more, I guess you would say, obscure reasons why you may not be reaching your goals. Medications, right? Number 3, we'll work from 3 to 1. Medications have side effects. Most of America are on medication of some sort. And like I've talked about many times in my podcast, most people are not on one medication. In fact, it's very, very small percentage of people that are on one medication. You're typically on 0 medications, or you're on multiple medications, 2 or more. So now we have to also take the synergistic effect that both of those medications may be having, because you're taking 2 different medications. But let's just go down some of the medications that generally people are on. If you're on some sort of ADHD medication, well, that is going to cause 2 major issues. One is it's an appetite suppressant. So you're not going to be eating enough. If your goals are to, let's say, maintain muscle, or you have some sort of vanity goals, or to even gain weight, having an appetite suppressant is typically not good. The second is lack of sleep, right? You're taking an amphetamine. So your sleep is not going to be as good. Even if you're sleeping, even if the duration of sleep you think is good, the quality of sleep is not going to be as good. So that's just 2 of the many issues that you might have if you're taking some sort of ADHD medication. Cholesterol medication. We have shown through a lot of studies that there is, you have blood glucose issues, right? It's going to be raised due to how mechanistically that cholesterol medication works. So that in turn is probably going to cause weight gain. So if your goal is to lose weight or some sort of vanity goal, then the cholesterol medication could be inhibiting that. Antidepressants cause weight gain. We know this. That's one of the many side effects. And again, like I said, synergistically, what is happening with all of these when they're working together? So medications have side effects. Most people overlook that. They don't look into that when they're struggling through their weight loss goals. They go to their trainer and say, we need to make our program harder. Should I add another day of cardio? Do you think that maybe we need to change X, Y, and Z on my nutrition? No, I think you have to come to the realization. I'm not telling anybody that you should get off of your medications. That's above my pay grade. But to not sit with that and realize that you can be fighting an uphill battle that you're never going to win, because unfortunately these medications are causing you to hold on to this weight or to gain weight is something that I believe people do not do. They don't sit with that, and they avoid that. There's some cognitive dissonance there. They just push that to the side. So I think we have to understand that's a potential reason that people are not meeting their goals. And then I will say the number 2 here is too much. Number 2, too much rest, too much cardio. And maybe this doesn't make sense, but too many easy workouts. I don't think people are working hard enough. I watch people's workouts in the gym. I talk to people who tell me what they're doing. It's just not hard enough. There's a huge difference between maintenance workouts and getting to your goal building workouts. It's, I guess I could relate it to maybe a house cleaning, right? Here and there, on a daily basis, I do what I would call a routine clean, morning and night, right? I clean my house in the morning, clean my house at night. Maybe I vacuum, I wipe down the counters, I put the dishes away, those small things. But that deep clean, right, where you're cleaning the baseboards, where you're, getting some sort of Swiffer out and you're going through all the shelves, that deep clean is typically not done often enough, and it needs to be done. And that is what's making the bigger difference overall, right? And I think too many people who are looking to make a change are just doing the routine clean, the easy workout. You need to be doing the deep cleaning, okay? How do you do that? I don't know who I'm talking to right now. I'm just talking to the air, right? I'm talking to a camera. If I'm talking to an individual person, I would have to assess them. But what I would say is, if we just want to talk generalities here, if 5 is a very difficult workout, and 1 is a very easy workout, you should be having, 2 or 3, 4 workouts a week. At least let's say 4 workouts a week. And then maybe your other 2 workouts are just more of a maintenance workouts, but you're going to need to push it a little bit more. Now, that leads into, what I don't want to contradict what I'm saying here, because sometimes I also said, too much cardio, because sometimes people go, okay, I'm going to really work my butt off, but they're doing the wrong things. So they go, okay, my goal is some vanity goal where I want to have more muscle to show. And their version of working harder is to go to an extra Orange Theory class or run 2 more miles on the treadmill. That's not necessarily going to help your goals, right? Because then now you're in a caloric deficit and you're burning too many calories, and you're not going to be able to actually maintain that muscle. And that goes into a whole nother, maybe too specific of a conversation. So you need to work harder typically. And it's because you're doing, again, too much. You're doing too much rest in between sets for people, too much cardio, and too many easy workouts. More rest. When I say too much rest, I mean too much rest in between sets. Let me be specific there. Not too much rest in between days. You are much better off pushing yourself for 3 days a week than having 5 easy workouts, than even having 6 easy workouts. Now, that is if your goal is very specific and it's not long-term health and wellness. Okay. I'm not telling people what to do here as far as, what I would tell you is do 6 easy workouts a week, because you shouldn't have these giant, goals of, losing 25 pounds and getting a 6-pack and having 8% body fat. But if those are your goals, right? If you have extreme goals, well, you're going to have to work in an extreme fashion. You're not going to be able to do the 6 maintenance workouts. You're not going to be able to do the routine cleans. You need that bigger full house cleaning. You got to call somebody in to do it because you don't have the time to do it, right? You need that deep cleaning. And I think we need to keep that upfront in consciousness here, right? Big goals, big efforts. You're way better off if you have those extreme goals of working out less times a week, pushing it, and taking more days of rest. When I say too much rest, I mean too many rest in between sets. I watch people do a set of 8 and then walk around the gym and have a conversation with someone, and then go get some water, and then diddle around on their headphones, and then have a conversation with someone else. And before you know it, it's 6 minutes in between their sets, right? That's not going to do it, right? You're not going to challenge your muscles enough in that way. And last but not least, diet would be the number 1 thing I think that people would think I said. I started with medications, and I said the whole too much thing, and then diet would be number 1, but I'm not going to say that because that's the easy way out. Of course, diet is always a problem, but you've already thought of that, right? I want to give you a little bit more obscure answers here. So the next thing I would say is stress. You have to limit stress. Stress causes complete havoc and chaos inside of our bodies. And what happens is if if 0 is your homeostasis or something, and you're really trying to gain muscle, there's going to be a huge issue if you're so stressed. The workouts are going to just be then bringing you back to homeostasis, right? You're almost in a negative here. Workouts are bringing you back to 0. We want to get to 1 and 2. So we have to limit stress. And I'm not talking about just the physical stress, right? The sort of like the positive sort of hermetic stress. I'm talking about you're not sleeping, you hate your job, you don't know what you're doing with your life, that sort of stress. I'm not saying, oh, clear that up. Yeah, no problem, Steve. I'll clear all the giant issues I have up in my life. But what I'm saying is that my answer here is, what are some things that are causing you to not reach your goals? So I just have to be honest. Medications, stress, and too easy of workouts, too much rest in between your sets, or too much cardio. Those are the 3 things. Those are 3 of the many things I see that people don't think of that are actually causing them to not see the results that they want to see. What fitness and health professional makes you angry? I didn't quite get exactly what this question meant. I think they wanted me to maybe say somebody specifically. I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'll say maybe niches inside of the fitness and health realm that sort of grind my gears. And I'm not going to talk about any particular person. I'm not talking about people. I'm just talking about maybe a sort of a group think or a mindset around these particular avenues or niches inside of the health and fitness landscape. I'll start with 3 and then work to 1. 3 would be the sports performance geeks. They love to tell you how smart they are. They love to brag about their athletes. It's the easiest population to work with. Anybody can work with athletes. If I was working with a young trainer and they said, I want to get my feet wet here and I don't want to injure anybody and I want to do a good job and I want to gain some confidence, go work with an athlete. Anybody can work with an athlete. You're going to work with someone from the ages of 15 to 27. Anything you do is going to help them. It doesn't matter what you do. You can do plyometrics. You can just do strength training. You can just do sports-specific drills. You can grab 5-pound dumbbells and do a Tabata class. You can do a step class with them. You can do whatever you want. Everything's going to help them because they're in the best shape of their life. They're athletes. They're already working in a high capacity, and they already have athleticism that is most likely going to go up based on nothing else but the fact that they're getting older and they're getting better at their particular sport. They might attribute it to what you're doing in the gym, but they were going to get better anyway. So these sports performance geeks that want to tell, major in the minors and talk about, it's really important that we're focused on eccentric load jumping. And we want to make sure that we rebound quick. And we want to get the force production. None of that matters. It's all majoring in the minors. It's all bullshit. They want to tell themselves they're doing more than they actually are. And in fact, when we look at the data, they're doing way more harm than they're doing good. Most of these guys. Okay. What they don't do, because they're too stuck in the gym, right? It's really good to be in the gym more than reading studies, but you need to do a little bit of both. What they're not doing, what the sports medicine physicians do, like my wife, is they have whole conferences on specialization and overuse injuries, and that's what's happening because people are meeting now, right? Oh, I want to be a swimmer. I want to go to college and get a swimming scholarship of some sort. I want to get a football scholarship. I want to get a basketball scholarship. So these players are playing basketball all year round. And in between that, they're going to sports performance people who are then, instead of working all of the other muscle groups that they're not working in those sports, instead of keeping them fresh, instead of preventing injuries, performance and preventing injuries are not the same. They should be, but they're not. In the sports performance world, they're continuing to work those muscles and push them harder so that that musculature and those motions that they're doing in the sport are even better, right? So meaning if I really want to build my athlete's ability to jump, I'm going to have to do explosive exercises and jumping related plyometric exercises to make sure that that athlete can do that more. Well, that athlete's already doing that all the time. He's playing basketball for 5 hours a day. So if we're not focused on moving in the other planes of motion, on building up the small muscles in and around there, then now it's going to lead to overuse injuries. We didn't used to see this because it used to be the norm in the 80s and 90s, and certainly well before that, that you played 3 sports all year round. right? You didn't just play basketball. If you were the best basketball player in your school, you also played football and you also played baseball, or you also played soccer. That's just how it was. That's not how it happens anymore, because if you want to get scholarshiped, you have to keep up with the Joneses. And to keep up with the Joneses, you have to sports specialize. And to sports specialize, you need a special sports performance coach in conjunction with playing your sport all year round. And this is where we start to see all these overuse injuries, all these Achilles injuries that people blame on the calf, as opposed to just being overworked in general. So that's definitely my number 3. How much fervor I had for that, you would think that would be my number 1, but it's not. Number 2 is healthy at any size. I'm not going to really go into this too much. I've talked about this before. You can't be healthy at any size. It doesn't matter the percentage of body fat or muscle you have. There's a weight, there's a number. It's a line of diminishing returns. If you're over that weight, you're just not, the likelihood of you being healthy is so small. So at some point we have to come to the realization that weight does matter. And you don't just have to use BMI, but weight matters. We have all the data on centenarians. Right? We don't see 220 pound centenarians. We just don't see it. Now, I'm not telling you you can't be healthy at 220 pounds. This is a new world. You can be healthy at 260 pounds. You can be healthy at 300 pounds for a certain period of time, but that's going to run out as you age. You just can't be that heavy. So now there's certainly, it goes in the other direction too. We don't want 90-pound seniors, because we know what a fall does. One fall, one shattering of a bone leads to you being immobile and deconditioned and all of the negative side effects that come with that. But there's a healthy space in between theirs too. So you can't be healthy at any size. It's a ridiculous statement. And then number 1 is obviously the bodybuilder bro science. You have all these bodybuilders who think they're smarter than they are, and all they want to do is talk about studies and science, all of which you can pick apart with no problem. But none of them are healthy. They're all a mess. Show me your labs. Some of these guys, like Dr. Mike, he's like 5'7", 240 pounds. He looks like absolute shit. He looks like he's 65 years old. And you can know all you want, but you're not implementing it. You're not healthy. Yes, you're majoring in the minors. You know how to do the proper exercise routine to build your biceps. Great. Well, then call a spade here. What you are is a bodybuilding coach. You're not a health and fitness coach, because you're not healthy, and you don't preach health. You don't know health. You don't talk about health. You don't practice health yourself. So that would be the number 1. Last question here. What are pillar healthy food options for you? For me, I guess maybe they are asking because they also want me to say for you, for the general public. So I'll try to do both here. For me, would be number 1 would be eggs. Between the healthy fats, the quality protein, there's so many different ways that you can prepare them, how delicious they are. I have eggs every day. Now, the quality of eggs matters. I've had a whole episode on here about eggs. I think I released it on Easter, maybe last year or 2 years ago. It was a fantastic episode. And getting your pasteurized eggs is really important. So, and if you want to know the difference between the quality of eggs, because there's so many different words: organic, pasteurized, cage fed. If you want to know all the differences and what are the top quality eggs for your money, it should say pasture raised, right? Pasture raised is the top quality that you're going to get. And if you want to know all the specifics, go find that episode that I did. Of course, the lady's name evades me now, but she was fantastic. She is some sort of nutritionist, but she also has chickens and she sells eggs. So she was just a wealth of information surrounding that. Number 2 would be, I would call it a travel snack, protein bar, but it doesn't have to be a protein bar. If you're somebody who doesn't like any protein bars, you've tried a lot of them. And I'm not going to sit here and recommend which one is best for you, because I don't know, again, your goals. I don't know your health history, but I would say there's a practicality to health and fitness. We can't just talk about this in a vacuum. These are the best things to do. These are the worst things to do, because our lives are interconnected with this. We don't live in a vacuum. So in order to eat healthy, we need to have snacks on hand. You need to have the right food on hand. And for you, I don't know what that is, whether that is, I don't know, hard-boiled eggs, whether that's a particular protein bar or protein shake that you like, that you believe is healthy, whether that is nuts or vegetables, whatever it is. you need to have it on hand. You need to pre-prepare your food and your snacks so that you have those snacks on hand so that you don't get hangry and make bad decisions. That's what people do. They don't have food on hand. They go, I'm going to wait and wait and wait and wait for dinner. And then they come home, and while their dinner's in the oven, they eat a jar of Pringles because they just couldn't wait. Have healthy snacks on hand. And number 3 would be a healthy drink option. I think so many people choose bad liquids. There's certainly a plethora of people now who are all about water and drinking more water and water, but here and there you're going to crave something else besides water. And the people who don't otherwise know better are drinking juices or diet sodas or something, right? We should probably stay away from that. Now, what I would say is, if you're somebody who does like juice, just put a little bit of juice in water so you get enough flavor, whatever that juice is. Maybe you're like, I really like this orange mango Tropicana juice. Okay, well, fill your glass up with 75% water and put 25% of that in there, just so you get a little bit of that flavor so it's not so boring and you don't have to, we only live once. Don't have a whole, 40 gram of sugar juice drink, or, a diet soda can or a soda can. Coca-Cola has 44 grams of sugar. Don't have that all in one sitting. That's not good. And the more you drink it, the more you get used to it, the more you want it, the more you're going to crave it. So just cut that out. That people associate the weight or the density of food with the caloric intake, if that makes sense. So like if it feels heavy on your plate or if it looks big, you're like, oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot of calories. Who people don't know otherwise. So when it comes to something that's liquid and it's easy to go down and they don't see it as food, they go, oh, this is no big deal. I'm just having this orange juice. I'm just having this, can of soda. No, there's a lot of calories in there. Your body doesn't need all that sugar. And really try to find healthy drink options. What are healthy drink options? Like I just said, if you do like a juice of some sort, fill it with 75, 80% water, put a little bit of juice on the top to give you that flavor. You can get fresh fruit. I love to get like fresh limes or fresh strawberries and just put it in a big jar and then put water in it so that the fruit sort of leaches into the water so that I have some flavored water. Kombuchas that are low in sugar. There are options out there. Choose your option, but that's what I would say. So I'll just maybe do a quick recap here of all the things I said. Number 1, why am I not seeing results? Medications could potentially be a reason. I'm not telling you to get off your medications. It's above my pay grade, but just understand that. Don't push that to the side. Understand that could be a major reason why. Number 2, there's a likely chance that you're either doing way too much cardio, that your workouts are too easy, or that there's too much rest in between your sets. And then stress just absolutely wreaks havoc on your body. And if you can't limit that stress, a lot of times the workouts are just getting you back to homeostasis. You're not actually making any gains. What fitness or health professionals make me angry? The sports performance geeks, the healthy at any size people, and the bodybuilder bro science people. And what are pillar healthy food options for you? Eggs, travel snack, healthy drink. And that is it. I have a few great interview episodes coming up over the next few weeks. I release those interview episodes either over the weekend or on Monday. It depends, usually in the beginning of the week. So Sunday or Monday. And then I release these solos typically either on Thursday or Friday. I appreciate everyone. Always feel free to write in social@TrulyFitApp. This has been an episode of the TrulyFit Podcast. Thanks for listening in.